Everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to another Saturday night paint and chat. And today we are working on that old piece of terrain I started a little while ago. Finally getting around to gluing it all together. I'm working on the upper level right now. I'm just getting things painted, doing some heavy dry brushing right now, just to get things done up. So I hope everyone had a good week so far. And right now I'm actually doing some fun stuff here. You can see that marking here, because this is actually going to be the inside of that bunker. And I'll put it together in a minute. And so the light, when it hits, will sort of hit here fast and then fade as it goes back, right? So I'm trying to get a bit more of the lighter highlighting here and then gradually fade it back. So it's a bit harder to see the further back you go. That way it kind of gives the, I actually got the hole there is a minor accent with some super glue. And of course, super glue and foam do not mix well together. Obviously I was fine, it was an open area, but I've decided to just keep it as maybe an energy blast. I made it through and smoked the back and kind of left a big dent in there. So I'm almost done this part here. I'm just trying to catch last bit corners here. Always good to highlight corners. Trying to get the back here done up. I don't want to be too colorless, but I do want to catch edges. Definitely, especially around the places where I put in sort of crater marks and impacts. I want them to stand out, obviously. So this is the first dry brush. I have another one to do that with a bit more white mixed in to kind of make it stand out a bit more. So I'm just going to a bit more on the roof here. The other thing is, with these things, you don't have to be super careful. You have different, you can see right here, it's a little bit hard to see, but this is a bit more, put a bit more here than here, and that's fine. The texture and, the pigment, lack of a better word, on the stone or whatever you're painting, doesn't matter if you're painting stone or not, it's inevitably going to be different things in there. So I'm just gonna, this is the front. And that was the thing. The other thing when I did this, if you want a little tip, since this is going to be the top, right? This is going to be the front section here. I did take clips out of the top here, weapons fire, either coming up and knocking stuff off or coming down directly. But I, especially on the edges here, here, and here, a lot of the weapon fire would be directed up with the gap of so I took out a lot around the front and the sides here. Very little of the back. Actually, this side I left completely clean. I did some back here, but there's not a lot of fire coming in this way until much later, right? So a lot of the fire damage would be directed around these front edges here. And of course, that little accent, which I turned to the famous boss Bob Ross there, happy little accident, right? So it's going to get highlighted up as well. It'll look cool. And then I finally got a glue gun. So I'm going to glue these little parts on here, these little spacers. I'm going to glue on to certain parts here so that I can, once done, it'll look, I'll have the rise that I need to put in there. But that comes later. Actually, while I'm at it, so this is this will be the front piece here, and I've left some white here. That's where the other pieces are going to join. Again, this is the front, so I've done lots of damage up at the top corner here. Not so much here and here, but this is where a lot of the firepower's come out. Enemy forces will shoot in. And actually, it's funny, I was looking at, I started watching Masters of the Skies, I believe it is, or Masters of the Air. It's basically the third part of Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg's I guess almost like a trilogy now. Started with all the way back with Saving Private Ryan. That was its own movie, but then you had the Band of Brothers, Pacific, now Masters of the Air. Hell, Chad, how's it going, man? What's rolling? I'm just working on terrain. Um, and I would watch through Band of Brothers to see because there are certain parts where they're attacking pillboxes. Even watching Saving Private Ryan. Heck, this weekend this past week I was on vacation. I was playing. I picked up out of my list of games Modern Warfare World War II. I'm playing through that, and of course, there's stuff on D-Day. We're attacking other parts of the game. We're attacking defenses, and of course, there's a lot of shooting at weapons coming at you, right? So that's what I did there. Yes, it is. It is. I'm finally getting it put together for the most part. I have a glue gun finally. I've decided to get it painted. So that's what I'm going to do now. So again, this is one of the side parts. And of course, I did more damaging around the sides there. And it's going to get glued in something like that, right? So that it looks like a bunker, which I'm actually going to start doing right now. So I got my hot glue gun here. For the young kids, be careful. This can get hurt a bit. And I kind of want to get it done and in place as quick as possible because it does start sinking in rather fast. What I do is I take this, line up here, and kind of hold that together now. Kind of want that to stick. I'll leave that over here, I guess. Not enough room. Kind of want that to solidify together a bit. And again, it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. Anything gaps I can paint black and just dry brush again. I do want to get that sort of put together. That's the first part. Again, this side I did the same thing. I left this part unpainted. Again, I did damage. This will be on the outside, so the firepower coming in will nick off parts from that wall. And of course, I got to get those glued on here. But I'll do that after it is dry brushed up enough, which it is not right now. So I'm going to do the same on this side now. I'm caught. I'm just going to get some glue on here. Lots of good coverage. So we'll get this on here like that. I tried to make these as flush as possible, and unfortunately with this this type of foam, it wasn't 100% possible. It's not the densest foam I've ever had. It's packing foam. It's not like the dense blue or pink foam that you can get, but it'll work. And again, there will be touch-ups afterwards once it's done. Yeah, see, there's lots of gaps here, so I'm gonna have to yeah, there's some big gaps in there. Sometimes toothpicks used as pins. That's true, yeah. I've done that before with like the pink styrofoam, like the really dense stuff. I've tried this before, and I find it doesn't work as well because it's not as dense, so there's not enough friction on the pin. And as you start putting it in, it starts actually pushing you further and further into whatever piece you use as the original anchor piece. And I've had experience before. I've built stuff when I worked for Games Workshop over the years, and these don't work as well. It's a great idea, definitely. So if you're ever building with pink styrofoam or any of the really dense styrofoam, toothpicks are great as joints, right? Especially if you have something like this. They're great for it. They're amazing for it. And they do work. I remember when I was helping my manager at the time build a new display table for, I believe it was 4th edition. Yeah, we were building a display table for 4th edition. And he built up because it was the whole Tyranid Space Marine thing. So he built a whole, I love that. I love blue and purple. That's good, yeah. Hey, G, my man, what's up? Fucking hungry. Hey, bro, how's it going? he had a whole no man's land built up into a part of a trench, and we put. So obviously the base was styrofoam, and we built up, and each level used toothpicks to keep it down. So we glued it. There was also toothpicks there, so it was very solid, right? It wasn't going. Of course, then we used putty over it to make it with a rough um, uh, structure to it, right? And give it some grit. Oh, that turned out really, really well. Some of those dry, those are doing actually pretty good. I'm actually pretty pleased with that. It seems to be holding together. That's good. I'll have to do some little bits of fill here and there, some more dry brushing, but for the most part, that's looking good. I'm happy with that. So we're going to put that aside over here, let that dry up some more, and I got to get back to dry brushing. Yes, the man, the myth, and the legend that is our G-Man. How's it going, man? Now, please check out his channel if you haven't. Drunken Hungry. He does amazing food reviews. Funny too, but also very much to the point. He's not messing around. He's got lots of success with it, and it's awesome. So keep it up, G, my man. I'm just gonna have to change this paper up afterwards, but the dry brushing is almost over, so don't think I have to worry too much yet. But I want to get things done. Yeah. Hey, no problem, man. You do good stuff. I like seeing people do good stuff, and they people don't get enough credit for doing good, honest stuff. So some black. Oh yeah, and when you're doing terrain, dollar store stuff is amazing. Now I wouldn't use it for say trying to be precise with models. Oh no, sometimes it gets a bit gooey though. You get a little snotling holding on there. Ew, no. Sometimes that happens, but no. It's also another weird thing happening this week. I was going to talk. Yeah, the cheap stuff is the best. It is. Don't use your. I don't even care if you're using Citadel paints. Don't use that stuff on terrain. That's a waste of money, and yeah, that's a waste of money. I'm just mixing up some black and white here. I need more white, especially if you're mixing. Unless you're rich, yeah. Well, I'm not rich. Actually, that's one of the weird things. I mentioned this before. I mentioned it in one of my other message groups I'm on. The last probably 2 weeks, I have more than any other time had people following me on whatever social media it is. One happened yesterday, and I feel bad because these people are trying to move they're trying to do their thing. They're trying to move their product. But I've had a number of people for logos and artwork and 3D printing come to me and go, "Hey, I'd love to sell you my artwork." I'm like, I don't have the budget for that, guys. I'm really sorry. Yeah, craft paint and sand mix. It does. Yes, that's actually one of the things we did back in the day. We actually had we mixed black. We went on what was it? We did 2 display tables. The first one was I'm trying to remember now. We did one for Battle of yeah, I know how you feel, man. And trust me, all my kids have birthdays in the following month, so it gets super tight around here for a while. But we did 2 tables. We one for Bathroom Craig, one for what was it, Blackfire Pass, or the one that was no, that isn't it. It's one of the dwarves versus the goblins. And my manager did an amazing table for that. That one, we just glued we did old school. So we built the table, and then we put down a whole bunch of glue, mix of water and glue, and then put the sand over top, and then sealed it with another layer of that water glue, and then dry brushed the heck out of it. The one for the Space Marine Tyranid table, we actually mixed the sand in with the paint and water and put it down. It worked really, really well. So, but yeah, it's one of those weird things that just over the last while they've come into me, and I feel really bad because I'm like, yeah, I'd love to get some 3D printing, but I know how expensive it is, and I don't have the funds for that right now. Sorry, and I feel really bad. I'd love to be able to help these people and support them, but I just can't. I just can't. Which is unfortunate because I'm pretty sure they have some amazing stuff. I've seen it. Some of the stuff looks great. I just don't have, unfortunately, the time or money for it at this point. I find it's weird when I'm looking for it, it disappears, right? I've reached out to other people before going, hey, I see your cool 3D printing stuff, and you never hear back from them. But then the minute you're not looking, you're dealing with, the real life stuff of prices going up and all that good stuff. That's when they come to you. So I find it a little bit confusing. Just dry brushing the heck out of this now. A little bit around that impact zone. I'm sorry if it's an annoying sound. I can hear it a little bit, but try not to annoy anybody too much for that. I apologize. Probably not the best sound in the world of bristles going over foam. But lucky this loads and stuff, so if I get myself. It's here. I want to grab Ulfang Blackhawk though. Yeah. It's weird that he went. That's the new orc character. It's weird that he went right to Legends, but at the same time, I get it. But again, Legends is perfectly fine for friendly games, so go for it. Have fun with them. Need your orcs and a great wog. Always fun there. Yeah, no, like I said, I was on vacation this week, which was a lot of fun. Good week to relax, rest a bit, have some fun. Worked on something that's coming up in the not too distant future. I had quite an amazing story to tell about that, but that's something I'll save for later. Because right now, I kind of want it to be a surprise still, but I got an offer that I could not refuse. And not in the Godfather sense of it, but it was an opportunity that was amazing. So I jumped on it, and once it's done, hopefully it'll help make a really cool video that will come up whenever I have the chance. Yeah, they bring out all these orc characters who never have proper core expos. That's true. I made myself cross-eyed painting my Cygor. There's a lot of Tila. Wanted to book it, sold out my hobby store rate to get on Audible today. Yeah, what's actually really cool. I was actually at. It's like something I want to talk about. I guess I'll talk about now. I actually visited. It's been a while now since I visited, but I actually visited the old store I used to work at, and it's gone through a lot of changes. I know I talked before about my manager there when I worked there back in 2015. Got fired for theft. Well, that's what I've been told, anyways. I say allegedly fired for theft. I don't know. And they got a new manager. He could not run the store properly. It was a mess all the time. I went there a few times, and it was a disaster. There was no room for gaming tables. There was no room for anything. And then he was gone. They had an interim manager sort of clean things up, and now they have a new manager. And from what I could see, the store is doing really, really well now, which is great. There was actually one point they were thinking of closing it because it was doing so poorly. And that extended back to when my manager was there. So it was kind of I did a big video about that beforehand. But they were actually thinking of closing that store down. And that's the thing that the area manager fought really hard for it. Because he's like, this is the nation's capital, and we don't have a Games Workshop store there. So this guy was given opportunity to turn things around, and he really has. The gaming nights are back up. The tables are clear and able to be done. Like intro games can be done. You can play games. It's great. They have tournaments going on again. It's great to see. Really, really happy to see it. Another bit of good news, one of the stores in my town is finally Games Workshop distributor. So that's great. So I don't have to go all the way out to Ottawa to get them. I can stop ordering them to my house, which is great. But again, I have to order, I think it's like $80 worth over, 80 and above to not have shipping. So this way I can go get what I need, and it's a bit cheaper. So that's good. Now they just started, so their selection is incredibly small and basically what they were basically given by Games Workshop. So, I mean, it's not worked out all the kinks yet. It was really, really cool to see it here in town again. It's been a while since we had a store that sold it. A long while. So it's nice to see. Very, very happy with that. Cool listening to books and paint character. That's awesome. I spent more free shipping. Yeah, well, that's what I've done before. That's why I picked up a book here or there, or a magazine or something, just to kind of get me over that threshold, so I can go, hey, I got what I wanted, and I got a little something extra on the top, right? Which makes me happy. Just trying to. I think this thing's done. One more side here I can use to clean this table up afterwards. My wife will kill me. My wife is going to kill me. Just trying to give this a little bit more of a lighter dry brush. But I want this one to be the weakest and least used of all, because it's just getting the highlighted edges, the extreme highlights. The hobby store I'm affiliated with, start small and huge size. Yeah, I'd love to get affiliated with a hobby store at some point. I'm just not there yet. Maybe one day. The problem is a lot of other hobby stores in my area are not huge fans of Games Workshop. They'll sell their product, but they're not massive supporters, I guess, because of Games Workshop's policies in the past and all that stuff, the political blundering that goes on. And they come up with a new idea. Oh, hey, you can't get this anymore. We're not going to ship this anymore. You have to order this much product now as opposed to before. So on and so forth. So it's one of those things. Plus, stores go where the money is, and if people are angry at Games Workshop at any point, they stop buying, stores stop purchasing, right? So it's one of those happy day conundrums that they go through in time to time. It's 21% off. That's awesome. Whoa, no, do not go over there and close that. Thank you, Ness. Okay, so I think that is sufficient. Yeah, that's good. I think that is going to make me happy. So now the fun part of gluing these on. Ugh, okay. Paint all over me. Anyways, that's okay. That is a-okay. I'm going to take this, and I guess we'll go that way. And we're going to just put a little bit here. Get enough on there to make it stick. And then I'm just gluing these separators on. These are awesome. They're just little spacers I had from a TV mount that I didn't need. Right? They are the perfect height. So once I'm done this, I'll show you with that thing. And the last thing I have to do is I had a piece cut out. So this is looking nice. So I had a piece cut out to be a floor. I'm not sure that piece went, so I'm going to have to cut a new one, which isn't a big deal. But it'll be the floor. I'll have to measure it up just enough so that models can see over top of it. So I'm just getting this on here now. And this one on here. I'll make it at least somewhat equidistant so it looks like it's. There we go. Get a little pressure down. Yeah. It's just, this is a very was a good week to be off. I got to go to some old stomping grounds. Got inspired by some stuff. Some cool stuff went on. I'm kind of hoping that. I put out that video this past week thing that was rough because I tried doing a solo battle report, and it was bad. It was so bad. It was really bad, and I couldn't put it out. It wasn't anything good. I would not be proud to say, yeah, I made that. It was just bad. It was just all the way bad. So I scrapped that. I put the video there because I was trying to get a positive sort of spin on it. It was really bad. It did not go over well, but I was also doing it just to try and get myself out of funk because I did it and it was atrocious. And I just didn't want that sort of spoiling the desire I had to make some different content, some more fun content. Just have fun with it. So that's gross. That's a lot of paint in there. But yeah, and I try to put a positive spin on it, and I think I got that kind of through what I was doing there. All right, I shall return in 1 minute. I have to get rid of this water. I'm gonna let this dry. Be back in 1 minute. Love you, man. Your blood sugar's wonky.
I have toast and
Love you.
I have toast.
Ernie?
I have toast.
Yeah.
2 slices of pizza and 2 what do you call it? Croissants.
I love you. Good night.
Love you.
Love you too. And I am back. Just had to clean some stuff up. Yeah. He leases some practice. Yes, that was one of the takeaways I got from it. It was practice. The one I did now is I do have one coming up. I'm just waiting for certain aspects to finish up, and once it's done, hopefully it'll be good. It's the first one, so obviously there's always some room for growth in there and learning, which I definitely did from the last time. I took time to read through Codex, the rule book, to read through the different armies that I have there to understand their rules a bit better. And I did what I kind of went back to the old mantra I had there when I worked at Games Workshop. And I go back to that because it some made sense. It was the keep it simple, fast, furious, fun, and force. No, I didn't do that. I kept it fast and I wanted to get action right away, and I made sure it was furious. Now the force part I didn't do. Yeah, I've looked at rules ACC. Neither have I, not properly. So that's what I did. I went through the rules. I went through the Space Marine Codex to understand things better. There was a time I used to know it all, but that's long ago. But those are holding up nicely. I just want to make sure those stay on. But yeah, so So yeah, that's what I decided to do for this one. Just make it fast, furious, fun. Didn't do the force part. Now that was the 4 rules we had when we were running intro games. You make it fast, so the kids can see that's happening quickly and it's fun. That's the fun part. Furious. You wanted stuff to happen. You wanted dice rolling walls to be wiped off the board. You want epic combats. And that's sort of how we described it to you. You wanted to be excited. Now, Forest, you just made everything happen on Forest because it's simpler when you're introducing a game. But yeah, but I went back to that. And the comments from a lot of you guys really helped in that video too. That was a great video to do. Okay, so now we have, this is our outer layer there. And then we take this bad boy here and put this right on top. So now, if I line that up, so now there we go. We've got ourselves a nice little bumper, pillbox, whatever you want. Obviously, I have to do some cleaning up along the line here. Same over here, just a little fill. But yeah, it's flat. It sits on there. That's it. Now, again, I do need to put a floor level in. That's about 3/4 of an inch. So here's the inside. So it'll be somewhere not too low, not too high, but somewhere right around here. So marine models or any model sort of sticks out about that much around the edge, right? And that way, and that's not going to be too complicated because that's just going to be a floor level. But yeah, so that's what it looks like. All done up now for the most part. Nice pit. Now, the next thing I want to do, one of the things I want to get was actually, I'll see if I can do this with some of my, so I do have some, thank you very much. Very cool. Sounds epic. Yeah, that's what I'm going for. I'm hoping it turns out really well. Because I was inspired to this as well by looking at some of the old buildings we used to do at the store that were long before Games Workshop ever started making their own terrain. Kind of make your own. And I'm kind of pulling back on those glory days. So I am going to try and either see if I can get a 3D printed Imperial symbol, the Agila there on the front. Or I've been trying to find, and I know I have it somewhere. I want to see if I can get a print off. So you can print out Imperial posters and banners and put them along there, right? It was cool. It was a whole bunch of Imperial propaganda. Oh, thirsty. A whole bunch of Imperial propaganda you could glue onto things. You could also damage them up, make them, some of them came that way, just cut them out, and then we can put around there, right? But yeah, I'm really happy with how that turned out. So yeah, so that is the front half right there. See, I just used a little knife and just cut out damage along the side here, along the front, right? Again, on this side, some of these ends are rough. That's okay. It's supposed to be like poured concrete, right? Of course, on the top level, a little bit on the top here, right, to show that it's been hit and damaged. Our Happy Little accident, which looks like a melta beam shot through our las can or something, right? Maybe even corrosive acid from a Tyranid weapon. And lots of consistent damage around this side here to show that that's where the firepower is coming in, right? And there you go. So I streamed 5 hours last night. Wow, 5 hours. I do 2 at most. I find that exhausting. I'm not sure he did 5. I've been, at one point I got the really insane idea to go, what if I did like a 5 hour, 10 hour, 12 hour, hobby-a-thon. But then my realistic side of my brain kicked in going, you can't do that. You have kids. You have a job. You can't do that. So I won't be doing that right now. That may be something in the future, many years. I don't know, many years from now. I had 2 people with me to help break. It does. Having extra people does help break up some of that. I'm just gonna plug my hot glue gun here. Don't want that just on for no reason. Glue sticks. Gotta be safe. But yeah, so there it is. I'm really happy with how that turned out. A little bit of repair here and there, obviously. I expected as much, and That fits on top there. I can move it forward if I want. Keep it back a bit. I don't know. Right, it's cool. I was tempted at one point just to have this stuck on, but I realized it's going to be hard to put models under there if I'm trying to fit the hands through. Then take it off, move models, put it back on, and I could move it all the way front so these are lined up. Or I can move this back a bit, right? Which is, either way, it looks pretty cool. See, I gotta find that. I'm gonna see. Let me just move this away. I want to see if I can find it. I know I had it somewhere, or I knew where I could find it back in the day. It was. I'm just gonna look it up right now. Just gonna, let's see here. There was a PDF. I'm just trying to find it now. That's it. Let's see if I can find it. Some mail here. Because there was one. Someone's got posters. That might be it right there. Yeah, so I'll find it out. But yeah, this one looks like they have print offs. Yeah, Sky Hat looks how he did, but it's cool. It was all these Imperial propaganda from back in the day. I remember it was always fun to watch. That very Big Brother-esque, right? You lots of work earns freedom, all that cool stuff. Easy store, move around. Yeah. No, this is good. Yeah, that is another thing. I have to store this stuff. I'm not using it. It's the ability to take it apart and then put it together again afterwards. It's a great boost to have it. Right? Kind of got to build what you got. So there you go. Now again, this is sort of the beginnings. I have again a floor to put in. I want to put some Imperial stuff on there to make it. I wouldn't mind having some sort of big Imperial symbol on the top here, right? A bright, shining and painted up gold, probably, and do some highlights, make sure it stands out, so people say, "Oh, that's Imperial bunker," right? The Imperium has set its footprint here, and it will not be moved. Plus, one on the front, some cool stuff like that, just to really showcase who it's supposed to belong to, right? A nice way to, and it obviously adds a ton of flavor to the table as well, which is good. I do like a lot of the more current train pieces because they fit really well. They're really well made. They look nice, but I find they lack character, right? I mean, if it's been broken down to you have like 4 or 5 pieces of train to make your table with, right? Like I'm looking at it right now. I'll look at it. Let's go look. Oh, and I am working on getting that stuff together so you guys can see what I'm screen sharing and all that. If I go to a shop, 40,000 terrain. Like there's not that much terrain. I mean, you have the Jace defense line, which looks good, but it's kind of the same thing, right? Yeah, I've been looking into that. I think I gotta get that. And the problem is I actually have to have the time to sit there and go through it. I may ask people to help me with that. Now, there are some cool things, like there's the Big Ed Boss Bunka and the Convergence of Dominion, the Miasmic Malignifier, but in terms of trying to get a cool table, there's only so much Sector Imperialis ruins you can use, right? Only so many Battle Zone Fronteras, STC Hab bunkers and Fox antenna and landing pads you can use before it gets really repetitive. Even if you take the Battle Zone Mechanica stuff or Nachman, which has a whole bunch of stuff at the same time, it's all very it's great. It's really nice, but it really lacks the character of when you could build your own, or when they had the old module, you could build whatever sort of crazy buildings you wanted out of these modular pieces. I don't know why they got away from that. Now, obviously, there's probably some costs involved, or I'm assuming, the way those the molds work, they do break down rather quickly sometimes. So maybe they just had trouble with the molds. I know, but I like the fact that the old Sector Imperialis stuff, where you could build whatever building you want. I thought was awesome. It was a great, because you could build whatever building you wanted. You could combine them very easily. And now it's not the same. I don't know. Again, it sounds like I'm complaining about it. I'm really not. There's some really good terrain. I bought some. It's fun stuff, but I just like being able to build my own thing that says this is mine. Right? Pour on the table. I think, if I remember correctly, looking at Restream here. I don't know if I will take a look at Restream, download that, and see what I need to do, and then I may bust your brain about it there to see what I need to do. That way I can and be a bit more proactive in sharing stuff instead of just blabbing about it like a moron. But yeah, no, I definitely want to. I definitely want to get that so you guys can see stuff. I mean, there's all the cool new Dark Angel stuff that came out, even though I'm never been a Dark Angel fan. But I mean, the models look cool. All the new characters look really, really cool. I mean, things like Belial and Asmodai, the Inner Circle companions. There's some really cool stuff there. But although I gotta say, the new Combat Patrol Dark Angels does not work for me. I don't know. I know that the new Dark Angels Codex is coming out. Yeah, the data sheet, but it just, I don't know. 10 intercessors. At least I think it's 10 intercessors. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's 10 intercessors, 5 Hellblasters, which is great. 3 of the Blade Guard veterans, and the captain in Gravis armor. So, from what I remember, he can't actually lead any single unit in that thing. I don't think he's allowed to because of Gravis armor. So, you really can't lead anything in there, which is a bit weird. And it feels rather, I don't know. Again, I don't know. It just seems a little bit lazy at Games Workshop's part. Yeah, all the new stuff, and they threw together. Yeah, it's like the Blade Guard's good. Hellblasters kind of fit because it's plasma, and the Dark Angels have always had a thing with being the Legion that had the most plasma weaponry. They were really good with it, right? That's why their Deathwing Terminators could have a plasma cannon. Even still, I'm looking at Deathwing Terminator Squad. They still have the plasma cannon there. No other Terminator Squad has that, from what I remember. And like Belial looks great. I love he's a very dynamic looking character, new massive Terminator arm, and Asmodai looks great as well. I like the fact that he definitely, he's one of those ones where you don't really know which armor he's wearing anymore, which is cool. There's a mystery to him, as there should be. He's the Dark Angel. They're supposed to be very hidden away. They're very secretive, obviously, right? Well, I mean, the new Inner Circle companions look good. I don't know. I find it just kind of weird. Johnson, like the Lion, looks great. Azrael is great in his new armor. One of the things that I always found weird is that we have all these boxes that have come out now, and I'm just going to go through this here. It's something that's kind of bothered me. If I go to Armies of Chaos and I go to Death Guard, let's go on here and check that. Yeah, all new stuff. Yeah, the DA Combat Patrol would be good for someone new, but for established players, it's crap. That's true. Do you see Fallen Army Warhammer Community was cool? No, I haven't seen that yet. But yeah, like if you look at the Death Guard Combat Patrol, it's got Typhus in it. That's awesome. right? That one is cool. You get enough cool stuff to start with, plus you get a character. I know the Thousand Sun one is the Thousand Sun one works pretty well too. You get a squad of the Scarab Terminators, a Sorcerer, a bunch of Zangors. I don't know. See, that one bothers me because I honestly think there should be less Zangors and maybe some Runic Marines, because that's what people like about the Thousand Suns, is the almost unstoppable. The Death Guard, the World Eaters one's not so bad. Lots of cultists again, but I don't know. It's weird. And then if I go to, let's see, the Xenos armies, the Eldari, I think theirs is pretty basic too. If I can find it, yeah, theirs hasn't changed much. A Warlock, Defender Squad, yeah. I don't know. That one just does not do it for me at all. I mean, it's cool in the latest White Dwarfs. They have added some new, sort of combat controls with the Vanguard Marines, and I actually picked up the latest White Dwarf, and it's got a cool in there for Tyranids, but a whole one based around the Lictor, the Van Ryan Sleepers, and that other like Super Lictor there, which is really cool. And it's a lot of just really fast stabbiness. It's cool. The Dark Angel one just doesn't do it for me. The next army show they're working on next, I will go check that. That's on Warhammer Community. Let's go take a look at that. Let's go have a gander at the Warhammer Community. They have a Fallen Army. Dark Angels Deploy. That's probably not the one that's got, yeah, no. Ooh. Let's see. Wow, that's quite the Dark Eldar Army, or Dark Angel Army. That's a lot of guys. He's got Blade Guard. You said it was a Fallen Army, so I'll make sure I am looking at the right one. Okay, there it is. Oh, wow, that looks good. Lots of dark armor, the old school bright red symbols. And he's working on his own version of converted Cypher. Cypher's pretty cool. That's a very cool looking army. That is a gorgeous looking army. I like that. Yeah, the Dark Angels are pretty cool. But yeah, I'm looking at like it's got an enhancement called Determined Combatant for the Captain. It gives him the sustained hits ability, which is okay. So the primary and the secondary objective, take the stronghold, Hunters of Heretics, Unyielding, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me. We got here. No, you like when people do things like that. So I used to love about White Dwarf. Yeah. Yeah, the White Dwarf is a lot better than it used to be, but it's still, it lacks a lot from one. Again, maybe just the nostalgia factor. For me, the White Dwarf was really, really good back in the early 2000s. It was really, really, really good. Yeah, it had some crazy stuff. Yeah, I remember back in the day looking at the White Dwarf. They had lots of articles how to build terrain, whether it was fantasy or 40K. It had lots of the chapter proof is amazing. I love chapter proof. So much cool stuff in there. I remember around the time of the Eye of Terror, they had a whole how to make your own campaign, which I used a lot when I ran a campaign at the first GW store I worked at. They had stuff about building Airmen, because in the original story, Airmen actually found a way to the back library. And so you could actually have him, you could have a sorcerer in a unit of Rubric Marines. Well, they were just Thousand Suns back then. And you could get one of these keys and you could have them teleport around the table. You also had one that brought in for the Imperial Guard, and they had a whole campaign around it, Imperial Guard versus Chaos, where you had, you have your platoon command, your and then you have your big commander, but then you had your like war master level guy, and so he was suitably impressive. He had extra gear and all that, but you could build a whole entourage around him, which was just amazing. Like lots of cool stuff. And so a few people budget made armies slow grow. Yeah, I was a save when I was a kid. I never wanted to miss an issue. I've got everything since it restarted from 85 to Warhammer Visions 6. Oh, Warhammer Visions, I hated that. That was such a pain in the butt to sell. I was working at GW when the White Dwarf Warhammer Visions thing split. White Dwarf is still worth it now. I will be sad. I'll be very sad the day they stop deciding to do the White Dwarf. There's still lots of value in it. I like the fact that they've done this bunker thing now, so you get these missions and extra cards. Like I said, the one I got had those cool Tyranid combat patrol. That's beyond the normal one, with it's just filled with lictors and Van Ryan Leapers. I'm actually tempted to do that. It's not a lot of models. It'd be pretty easy to paint up, and it would be pretty cool to do. Yeah, as poor poor as the hat. I know that's a problem. There's a lot of mags. I actually gave away. I had a whole ton of White Dwarfs, and the Warhammer Visions, because I worked at Games Workshop and we got them free, right? So you could just go in and go, hey, I'm going to grab my free copies of each. Warhammer Visions was great. It was cool. They had its own little magazine just for showcasing armies, a few battle reports. But it just, and even the White Dwarf, it was great. That's where some of the rules were, and actually talking about the gaming side of it, not just the hobby. But again, it was meh. I actually gave them all to a mother who was wanting to get her stuff for her kids. So I gave away all of them. I had like a stack this big of them, of both, and I just said, "Here, take them." I still have a whack load of old White Dwarfs sitting in a comic box thing, those big banker's box type things, just tons of them in there. And those are the old school ones, right? So I don't know. I probably won't get rid of those. When I do have the space, which I'm trying to do with my house right now, we're just trying to get rid of a whole bunch of crap. Our kids are growing up, time to get rid of stuff. I do want to put a bookshelf up and just put all my White Dwarfs in it. That way I can just start reading them again, having fun with them. Again, the new White Dwarf isn't so bad. There's lots of cool stuff in there. Like I said, Nick, the new battle bunker thing you're doing, a great way to get people sort of joining in on something, even if they're they can't get to a gaming table every week or every month like me, right? Lots of cool stuff there to help you keep moving along, doing your thing. But yeah, I will be sad if they ever decide to cancel it, which could happen. It's one of those things I've been closely monitoring, because I found out just by messing around on the internet that I am something of a I definitely know I'm an old school guy. I think that's been determined, but I've definitely jumped on board with having the physical media thing. That's been a big thing because it's disappearing, right? It's harder to get, even like if I just look at video game systems that have actual, you can get them now without an optical drive, no CD tray, no DVD tray, whatever you want to call it. It's harder to get games. It's hard to get, everything has to be digital now. It's hard to get movies. Places like Walmart. I went to my local Walmart here, Wally World, whatever you want to call it, and the whole video section has just been reduced so badly. Same with DVDs. The DVD, Blu-rays, CDs. The whole thing has been really, even the video games have been cut down dramatically. So it's hard to get stuff. And mean, they took out the cup holder. Exactly. Yeah, they took out the cup holder. Oh man, I haven't been able. Yeah, you can't get a computer now that has an optical drive. You haven't been able to be able to for the last like 5 or 6 years, right? Yeah, I mean, and even if you look, I was out in Ottawa there, near where I live. Um, I went to the Bayshore Mall, which is where my old Games Workshop store used to be. And it hit up what used to be EB Games, which is now GameStop, and they've had a huge. I would say probably 2/3 of that store is now Funko Pops, um, toys, collectibles, anime figurines, statuettes of anime girls wearing almost nothing, um, all that stuff. And there's probably one full wall, maybe a wall and a half of games, right? The rest of it is just collectibles, T-shirts, and plushies and collectibles of all sorts, right? Really overly expensive statuettes of comic book characters, right? So yeah, it's I'm meandering as though. So the thing is though, we're looking now, and you can get all your content you want online with Warhammer Plus, right? Not that it's great right now. Some of it's been really cool. I haven't got into it yet, but I've seen enough. But you have the Warhammer app where all your stuff is available to you right in there. You can build your army. You can have all the rules at your fingertips. They've improved it now, so you actually have a command thing you can hit, and it shows all the things that you have in your army. You just click on them to get information. Um, so you really don't need a codex anymore, right? So I am getting worried now that this could be a trend where probably not next edition, maybe the edition after that, maybe you don't need a codex. Maybe you don't need to get a rulebook. Maybe the star set doesn't come with a rulebook. It says, hey, you can hop on the Warhammer app for free, and all the rules are there, right? And then you just buy. Just right. The problem with that is if again with a lot of things now. I know it happened on the PlayStation 5 where there they you know I can't remember, Sony had a deal with some sort of company or movie company, and the deal ended, and all these people just lost all the stuff they had downloaded, the stuff it was just gone because now they could no longer have it, just gone. So you spend all this money. Same thing with streaming. You put a bunch of money into stuff. You hopped on Netflix at one point because all your favorite stuff is there. Well, of course, the production companies of that stuff said, "Hey, we'll do our own now." It's gone to the wind, and it's in a bunch of different ones, right? Um, I'm a big Doctor Who fan, and I can watch all the new stuff, starting with the specials over the last year. I can watch all that on Disney Plus. All the old stuff is in multiple different locations. It's on Prime under either I'm watching it under everything from Christopher Eccleston onward. But then there's also on the BritBox stuff is all the old stuff starting from way back at the beginning. So I have to go to like 3 different places to watch Doctor Who. And so I'm worried that eventually that's going to happen. That we'll say, okay, well, we're not going to produce the White Dwarf anymore. It'll be on Warhammer app or Warhammer Plus, right? We're not going to make codexes anymore. It's on the Warhammer app, right? The shop slides Mandalorian helmet behind easier. Okay. No, that would be wrong. There's nothing wrong with buying that stuff. The example is just that actually getting the video games and movies is going to get harder and harder because everything wants to go digital. Because it's going to save these companies a ton of money. Imagine Games Workshop not having to put out books, right? Imagine no White Dwarf, no codex, no rulebook. Everything's on the app or on your computer. You can pull it up there. The amount of money they would save not having to put out that stuff, right? And eventually, the executives at Games Workshop will get to the point where we're not going to do that. I love this stuff again. But again, things take up room. So convenience, again, that's part of I think it's part of the it's both a pro and a con. The convenience, right? I can just hop on my phone here and pull up the Warhammer app, right? And there I've got all my rules. I don't need a codex ever again. I got the core rules. I got everything from core concepts to updates. And I just go to my Battleforge. There's my Ultramarine army, right? And I hit the new command bunker. Everything in my little army. right? This is the army I did for the battle report. So you get a little preview there. But then I just click on it and I have all my ranged weapons, everything I need. It's convenient, but I still like having a book. Yeah, I won't need it printed all, same money, but it'll be the same price. Oh, absolutely would be. You can have music and books on the go now. Conquest games have happens updated weekly and free. Yeah, again, that's cool. It's great until Conquest stops making it free, or until Conquest decides to take it away, or Conquest goes out of business, or Games Workshop goes out of business, right? Which, if you came to me a decade ago, I would say never. But the way things are going right now, the way the businesses, the big businesses have just disappeared, right? It's crazy. But yeah, that's a meandering way of getting talk about the fact that I don't. I'm definitely someone who's big into physical media. I think it's important to keep around again for posterity. Um, at some point, what if Games Workshop decided to cancel the app? Then what do you got? Hopefully you printed stuff. Hopefully you took something, right? That's one of the things. I think that's the danger. And for right now, the rules and all that are free on here. I can use the free version. It limits. I haven't signed into it yet. Like, haven't bought into Warhammer Plus, but the free version has all the rules. And as things go, I can still get into certain things like Necrons. I can't read it anymore. The Space Marine one, I have the codex, so I was able to put in the code, and I got all that. But other things, as they come out, will start. They'll get less and less and less and less and less useful until once all the stuff's come out. Then the only thing I'll be able to see is the Space Marine one. And then I can build one list for free right now, so that's cool. One of Games Workshop to the point where I said, okay, we're not putting in books anymore, but now you have to pay for the app, so you can't even get the core rules for free. You have to buy them. Yeah, I like books still. Yeah, man, I still have a ton of I have my second edition Ultramarines book. I got all my everything from all the editions. Yeah, it's a good point. Digital the internet, but if the app somehow disappeared, what would you do? You would need to use. Yeah, exactly. So, do I think they'll get rid of the physicals? I don't think so. At least not yet. You can see the problem that Hasbro's had with going. Yeah. Oh, Gar sent you Rotor. That's awesome. Yeah, good old Gar. I had some nice chats with him. He was a good guy. But where was it? Yeah, but you look at the problems that Hasbro's had with, their Dungeons and Dragons fiascos, right? They want to have that. Was it D&D Beyond or D&D 1 or something? Everything digital, all the stuff you could ever want, but it's all digital. That's great until D&D goes up one day, or Hasbro goes one day, or Hasbro sells D&D to somebody else, and they don't like that. Yeah, he was great. He was a gem. He was an awesome guy. But that's my problem. I'm hoping that the heads at Games Workshop will be a bit smarter and go, no, we should probably keep books around for a very long time. I think the White Dwarf is a great magazine. I think it's that's where all this started. I think it's still a great magazine. It isn't what it once was, but what it is still really good. And it's much better than in the early 2010s there, where it was the late 2000s or 2010s. It was a disaster because they took out all the good stuff about it. It really, I mean, to be fair, the White Dwarf, even from the get-go, when it really became commercial, books shouldn't die out in general. Not everyone, yeah, exactly. Books are great. But the White Dwarf was always a catalog. Always a catalog, right? It was to sell the latest, greatest thing, obviously, but throwing in things like, but they did it in really good ways, by like throwing in things like chapter proof with cool new units you could make up, having campaigns and cool things like that. Showing you how to build terrain was a great way to get people excited and into it. Is a great way to get. They're going to buy models because you're telling them how to build a table. Of course, they want to put models on a table. Or, hey, here's a cool new unit. of like a Imperial War Master and his whole unit of his whole entourage of like 20 guys go crazy, buy models to build them. Then the free mini was good back in the day. They did that from time to time. But then at some point, it was around I think 5th edition there, and all that disappeared. It was just here's the latest thing, buy it. There was no soul to it anymore. It was literally, this is a new thing. You want to buy it because it's a new thing. Here's a really badly put together battle report. The painting articles disappeared. Terrain building articles disappeared. It was basically just, it was really bad. For a while, it was really, really bad. It was empty. It was empty, and I stopped buying it for a while because it just felt like there was no character to it. Libraries, oh God, no. Libraries are essential. Even just in real life, libraries are essential. They are a great source of people being able to rent movies, get books, access to information, access to the internet. Because, like you said earlier, not everybody can afford, internet. Yeah, the libraries are insanely important. Yeah, especially exactly for kids, right? Actually, we're lucky. The town I live in, our library not too long ago got a full revamp. Looks great now. Yeah, actually, that's what we used to. I don't know why we stopped. We used to go to library to rent movies. Right, the kids would get a couple books, and we rent movies. Yeah, no, lots of Batman. That's awesome. Yeah, the one we have is tons of graphic novels. Lots of X-Men, Avengers, Superman, Batman, Captain America. Yeah, lots of cool stuff. We should get back to that though. But yeah, so as much as I do like the convenience of being able to hop on my app and go, I want to know what my Assault Intercessor Squad can do, and being able to look at their abilities right away is great. It does make me a little leery of what could be, what could be in the future, especially with the way things have gone with every other media, right? That's why, like, it's weird. My wife was able to find a, a a PlayStation 1, the mini version, like an original version for me, and a whole bunch of games for like $100. So she grabbed that. Great, I have that to play on now. Um, and she found an N64 with 2 controllers, a whole bunch of games, including GoldenEye. That's a classic. And got that right. It's great. And my kids love it too because they see those old games, and it blew my mind. My son, my oldest, it's like, what did they do to fix it? I'm like, hey, the game came out, that was it. And he's like, what about DLCs? There were no DLCs. I threw in a copy of Final Fantasy VIII, right? Because I was like that. Yeah, I'm the same way. I like comics. I have to buy comics. I can't read them on any app. Yeah, N64s are super good. Yeah, it was awesome. So we would. I threw in Final Fantasy VIII. I just put in the memory card that I still have, and I went to I think I have like 3 saves for that game. So I went to the one that's the shortest amount of time in the game on the earlier points of the game. I started running around playing it. And he's like, what did you do about like DLCs? I'm like, there's no DLC for this, buddy. There was no internet attached to this, right? The internet started getting attached to PlayStation 2, right? And it wasn't wireless. And PlayStation 3 was the one that was finally wireless. So like that was it. This was the game. This is how you did it. That was right. This was the game. All the tricks, any cool super weapons and super spells were already in it. There was no buying extra stuff, no needing. And I'm not a huge fan of DLCs to begin with. I've definitely picked some up for things like Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 to get some more content on them, which is cool. And I mean, I've got the Batman games. I usually would pick up whatever free stuff I could get, whether it's cool suits or skins for Batman or the Batmobile. But other than that, I really don't like DLCs because it feels like if I have to buy the rest of the game, really. But yeah, cheat codes. Yeah, man, cheat codes are the thing, right? There was the GoldenEye. You could earn the cheats as you went along, right? So everybody, I always loved we'd play a multiplayer game with my friends and I, and we'd take things like only rocket launchers, and everybody had big heads. So you just see these guys with massive heads running rocket launchers firing off each other. You can see a missile streak through between a doorway and blow up, and you're turner, and someone died. It was a lot of fun. I was actually playing GoldenEye with my daughter. She thought it was hilarious. And I think I did. We did like a 2-player game, and I did only pistols. I did the golden gun. So you had like your basic pistols and a golden gun. And so you sit there just running around, firing wildly at each other, hopefully to the games replay by unlocking things I had finished. Gotham Knights. I haven't played Gotham. No, I did. I do have Arkham Asylum, Gotham Knight. I never really played it that much. I haven't played any new Batman stuff. I'm not going to touch I'm not going to touch the Suicide Squad because that game looks like crap. I'm going to say it right now. I especially having seen who wrote it and sort of their inspiration, why they decided to write it. I haven't played Gotham Knights. I played the Arkham Knight. Sorry, I played Arkham Knight. Gotham Knights I haven't played. Apparently it wasn't very well received either. I don't know what it is with this this fascination. It's some weird thing I've noticed recently over the last probably good God, even going back to like 2008. There's this weird fascination with killing off your favorite characters. Right? I remember they killed off Captain America, but he wasn't really dead. They killed off Batman, but he wasn't really dead. They killed off Superman. That was the big one back in the 90s. Kill off Superman. Now, if you didn't catch on to the death of Superman, if that happened before your time, or you weren't into it, it was the biggest comic book event of the 90s. One of the biggest comic book event of the 90s because they killed Superman. Like, and it wasn't like I remember long before that, someone was killed off, someone was dead, but they inevitably came back in some way. I remember when in X-Men they killed off Jean Grey, but they didn't actually kill off Jean Grey, right? The Phoenix Force was killed and dispersed, but Jean was actually hidden away. Usually, if anybody died, it was a what-if scenario. It was an alternate dimension, a what-if question, so on and so forth. But when they killed off Superman, it was huge because they said, we are killing off the main character of DC at the time. They had 4 books about him. There was 4 Superman books always going off at the same time. So it was huge, right? And it was big. Of course, at the end you found out he wasn't actually fully dead. He was just really almost very close to death, right? I have all the Arkham games. I have all 3 of them. Yeah, I've got Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight. I think Arkham City is probably my favorite of the 3. I played it pretty far, a bit of a way, a good part of the way into Arkham Knight, but Arkham City was my favorite. But yeah, the death of Superman. But then you go on, even now, they've killed off Wolverine. They killed off Doctor Strange. They've killed off all sorts of characters, left, right, and center. There seems to be this weird thing with killing off these main characters and then changing them when they come back to make them, I don't know. Most DC books, wow. Most DC books from 94. Yeah. I mean, the 90s were a tough time for comic books, but there's some really good stories in there. But yeah, the death of Superman was huge. It's huge. And then, of course, the fact that they took, I think it was like 2 or 3 months off of selling any Superman comic books and then came back with the 4 again, but each one had one of these new Supermen. Huge. It was massive. Right? And then they did the whole Nightfall thing where they broke Batman and they brought in another Batman. And then it was Batman versus Batman to see who could be the Batmaniest of Batmans. And then Batman retired, but then Batman came back and there was a new Batman. Yeah, it's kind of all over the place. It was, yeah. Like Marvel made fun of that. they made fun of the death of Superman with the death of the Punisher. I guess Marvel and DC have always taken some nice shots. They've given a lot of love to each other in the last few years, but they had the Punisher was dead. They said Punisher's dead, and so 4 new people came up as a Punisher. Of course, 3 of them are good and 1 of them is bad, just like the death of Superman. Azrael as Batman, definitely great game, great stories and boys. Oh yeah, they're great. I mean, Kevin Conroy was for a lot of us, he was the voice of Batman. Our parents had Adam West, and we had like Val Kilmer and George Clooney, and what's his name, Michael Keaton. I have Kevin Conroy was the voice of Batman, the animated series, a whole ton of video games, the movies. Yeah, he was the voice of Batman. Yeah, he is Batman. Mark Hamill, Joker. Yeah, what's the thing? Mark Hamill said he's never doing the Joker again. He will never do it again because he wanted to do it with Kevin. Like that was his Joker. I was stunned when I found out that the Joker was Mark Hamill. I'm like, what? No, Mark Hamill's not the Joker. Mark Hamill doesn't sound like that. And then you find out, oh, he actually does sound like that, and he is crazy. That's awesome. All right, I loved that. But yeah, no, I definitely have to finish up Arkham Knights. I haven't played the other ones. I know I'm eventually going to get PlayStation 5 and pick up Spider-Man 2 because that looks great. I'm definitely looking forward to the Wolverine game, which will probably come out in 2026 or something like that. That one looks awesome. Got to pick up Space Marine 2 as well because that game looks pretty freaking cool. I'm actually thinking I'm going to pick up Chaos Gate there. Now it's on consoles. I can get a PlayStation 4, so I'm going to pick that up because who doesn't want to run around and beat stuff up as a Grey Knight? Picked up Bolt Gun. That was a fun game. If you haven't picked that one up, I recommend it. It is full-on 90s Doom nostalgia. It's designed to look and play just like the old school Doom or Quake games. You just run around blowing the living heck out of stuff as a Space Marine, right? Even the intro and the epilogue are all very quick. Lots of and it looks exactly like one of those old games. I remember the ad they put out for it. The guy's going through, I guess, some old stuff buried away in his parents' house, and he pulls out old school Marines, right, tactical Marines, land speeder. It's the old stuff, and he picks out an actual floppy disk that says Bolt Gun written in like marker, and it's a great game. It's a great game. It's full on. Just the story is you have to go from point A to point B and just blow everything up, just kill everything. Hit with a chainsaw, bolter, Volkite charger, plasma gun, melt a gun, heavy bolter, doesn't matter. Just go to town and kill everything. Yeah, it was super fun. Yeah, the guy actually he's going through stuff. He's picking out some tactical Marines, and he pulls out one of those old school floppy disks, right? And it says, and it's not even like a professional. It's like Bolt Gun written in like marker, right? It was fun. The game itself, obviously, that's one of those ones I downloaded digitally because I don't think I ever found a physical copy of that one. But it was super cool, super fun. You get to fight all sorts of chaos demons and these cultists, chaos space marines, demons, terminators, greater demons, sorcerers. It's just crazy. So it's a lot of fun. And it is actually, it's like a, I want to say it's a cool little, it was almost designed like a filler between the two games because it is on the same planet from the first Space Marine game, right? And they talk about Titus in there and how he managed to defeat one thing, but now we have to go find this other chaos thing. And you're a member of a Stern Guard squad that crashed. Everybody else is killed. You're the only survivor. Now off you go, right? And then at the very, actually I shouldn't tell you one right now, but the game does segue into what we know is going to be a thing in Space Marine 2, right? Just very quickly, but you can see, okay, this is, so it's on the same planet as Space Marine 1. It tells you there are further battles to fight. We have other monsters to fight. And and obviously we know Space Marine 2 were fighting NIDS in that awesome trailer, because that was fantastically amazing trailer. It looks so awesome. All the cool hints, the fact that he's going to have a jetpack, the fact we see him in Phobos armor. And that was very cool. But yeah. Oh yeah, it's absolutely minus fun. Morning, sir. The hobbyist ends here. How's it going, dude? Welcome in. We've been chatting about lots of stuff: comic books, physical media, libraries. I'm working on some terrain for my tables. The preliminaries of this bunker is done. I can put this on the table right now and just use it as an empty building to fight around. But there's some more work to do. I got to get sort of interiors done, finish up some gap filling in there to make sure everything works. Put some cool stuff on to make there's some Imperial propaganda on there. But yeah, that's what we've been talking about. Right now we're just talking about things like Bolt Gun and Space Marine 2. Those are great games. Bolt Gun was a great game. I think I need Kit Bash, my wolf and Lord finally. You should do that. Good old Wolf and Lord. There are no wolves on Fenris. That's probably my favorite line of all time. The fact there are no wolves on Fenris. You're like, well, then what is on Fenris? What is on Fenris if it's not wolves? That's weird. Why would you say it that way? I don't know. Lots of cool stuff. I want to make my night wolves, but also so much going on. Yeah, I know how that feels, man. I have lots and lots of stuff to paint up. Lots and lots of stuff. And actually, one of the other things I want to do, and this is I go back to why the White Dwarf is still cool to me, because it still inspires me. Because right now, because I'm a masochist, I guess. The latest White Dwarf did have a new. It had 3 cards in it for a new combat patrol for Tyranids, and it's what is it? It is a 3 units of the Von Rhein's Leapers, a Lictor, and I'm trying to find the name of the other one because I can't. Yeah, it's 3 units of Von Rhein's Leapers, a Lictor, and the Death Leaper. They've given its own name for, just like with the Space Marine one, it's Strike Force Octavius. You have Captain Octavius. This is a Death Leaper, but it's cool. It's a Death Leaper, the Lictor, and 3 units of the Von Rhein's Leapers. And it actually looks pretty cool. It's something that'd be actually pretty easy to paint up and pretty characterful. Lots, like very little shooting, a lot of bit of psychic, and lots and lots of slicey dicey, which is pretty cool. Which would be very cool. I actually want to see how much that would cost me, because let's see here. I'm just gonna put that all together and we'll see how much the 2 squads of Von Rhine Leapers, because I already have 1 from the Leviathan box set. The Lictor, 1 of him. And then we're going to go, where did he go? Where did you go? And then the Death Leaper. He's what? Let me see. Come on. Come on. Come on. Why are you being difficult, website of crappiness? Yeah, so ouch. 120 for 2 units of on, 255 before tax for that army. Not the most. So it's Lictor, Death Leaper 75. Ouchies. Maybe I won't do that one. Pretty Penny, especially earlier this week. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I at some point, hopefully they'll put out that box set on its own. It'd be cool to see. The one they did for I wanted back painting models I've left you, where it was in the middle of doing some renovations for. Yeah, no. Yeah, you've got a lot of renovations to do, man. I like Your tables are coming. Your table, your track system for your trains is coming on amazingly. You have an amazing skill at that, I have to say. You got that. I don't think I could. It would take me forever to try and wire all that stuff. But yeah, no, I have. Again, it's one of those things that's what it's supposed to inspire you to want to do new stuff. But that'll be a long time for now because I have still a absolute massive backlog of Ultramarines to do. I have the rest of the Space Marine side of Leviathan to do. I still have a Reaver Lieutenant to do. I have Hellblast to do. Guilliman to do. I've got so much left to paint on. I've been trying recently to try and get stuff done so that I have small armies that I can puddle around with to do battle reports or take pictures with. I have 3 Scarab bases I still need to do for my my Necrons, the small little Necrons I had from one of the recruit starter sets back in the day. I've gotten a bunch of Chaos done, as you saw there, thanks to that amazing quick paint thing that I found, because that saved me so much time getting those guys done. So much time. So that was nice. I have that Ulthway Eldar army that I sort of kit bashed. Yeah, I have so many models. I think we all do. I think it's that is the internal joke of we're always going to have more models that we can paint. And I'll probably send that trauma down to one of my kids. Here, have all my models. Go, feel my pain, and then that'll be my last gift when I on my deathbed. I'll pick one of the kids. Go now. You may paint the models. Finish them where I couldn't, and then right. But I know. Well, it'd be more dramatic. I have to have a really dramatic death. Yeah. I'm in the same boat. Like I said earlier, there's one of the stores in town here that actually selling Games Workshop stuff now, which is great. So I don't have to go in the city, and I don't have to order it a week or 2 weeks, especially right now with everything just being so badly back ordered. I definitely, I'm definitely not gonna be able to buy stuff for a while. I got too much to do. If I buy more, it just means more in the backlog. I have a box of Outriders my wife bought me that I still haven't put together. There's like the box hasn't even been open. And then I'll just put in a machine with photo tape. Yeah, maybe. There's nothing here for hobby shops. Yeah, well, unfortunately, hobby shops don't last long. There was one in town here a while ago. God, probably over a decade ago, and it started out promising. I actually helped them out. I was talking to the manager, and he's like, do you know about wargaming? I'm like, well, let me tell you, dude. I worked for one of the major wargaming companies in the world. I've been doing it for almost 20 years at that point. He's like, oh, you want to help? And I tried to help out. And unfortunately, he was keen to make it a good store. His wife, unfortunately, was not keen to make it a good store. The gaming group they did have there was not one of the gaming groups that you wanted to have around. It was very much, we're going to game, and if we choose to let you in, then you can game at the store. If we're not, no one will play with you. It was a small gaming group. Not conducive to getting new people into playing any game. And the game of choice at that point was War Machine, Hordes, as they called it, which is on its own a great game. So I got some in my eye here. Which on its own is a great game, but these guys were not conducive to playing. It's not good. So I'm not surprised there are many stores. They're very, very, very hard to keep going. I've seen many, many, many fail, which is unfortunate because it'd be great to have that stuff available more frequently instead of having to order it, which is right now almost impossible. There's stuff about the warehouse was damaged, or they were covered under so much snow that everything. Yeah, exclusive carry game groups people. Yeah, absolutely. There was no loyalty too. They came there to play, but they buy their stuff elsewhere. So if you're going to a store to play, would it not behoove you to buy your product from the store? At one point, one of the guys, and he was really He was an arrogant chap. The woman, the wife at that point was running the store because the husband had to go back to work because they were hemorrhaging money. Because again, they were also letting their son buy product that wasn't selling at all because he thought it was cool. So again, that's a bad decision, number 486. But she was going to sell the Dungeon Master's Guide and the Player's Guide for whatever version of D&D they're playing at the time. The guy goes, "Oh, I know where you can get that online for free." And the parent walked out with a buying it. It's like, dude, you don't say that. And I looked at the woman, the wife. I was like, "Are you not gonna like ban him?" She's like, "No." I'm like, "He just cost you a whole ton of money, right?" And they would buy. They would say, "Oh yeah, I want to order this," and she would order it, not taking any payment, not even half beforehand, just to secure the purchase. Like, "Oh yeah, I don't need it anymore." Well, I'm like, "Oh, I don't need more. I found it elsewhere." So now she's got a model that you wanted, but no one else wants, and that's just sitting on her shelf. Eventually, it just died. It was really, really sad because it could have been a really good store, but it just bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. Karen Gaming would be a great store. No, it would not. Oh my god. That's why if I like one of my dreams is to eventually have my own store at some point. The downside to that is I would not be opening it where I live at all. I have absolutely zero desire to open one in the town that I live because um, I know it would not last long. There's no customer loyalty in this town. There is absolutely none, and even the stores that have been around for a long time, there's none. Um, I don't know. I have no idea. That is one of those dreams. It's one of those dreams that some point I'm gonna have to lay to rest and say it's not happening. But yeah, I would definitely not open here. This town is lousy for it. Just lousy. Absolutely lousy. I've seen it happen too many times. It's just not. It's not good. And I'm on some of the Facebook groups for this town. The amount of people that instead of just dealing with an issue, just hop online to complain. Which again, we've all dealt with. We've all seen how fast people complain about everything nowadays. So yeah. But now we're getting someplace dark. Let's go someplace happy. I honestly, I'm pretty excited for the Dark Angels release. I think it's gonna be cool for them. I'm kind of, I was going to pick up the Pariah Nexus campaign book, but it's $70. So ouch. I'll wait for that for later because there's a ton of cool fluff in there. I like the way the fluff's going. I find it kind of weird that we jumped over to Tyrannic, the new fourth Tyrannic War, and the whole the big starter set is all about fighting Tyranids, and now we're back in the Pariah Nexus again. Just wondering what the leap of logic was for that. Maybe they should have pushed out some more stuff. I don't know. I have no idea, but we'll see. Because there's some really cool, even the new White Dwarf, there's some cool fluff about Vashtor and what he's up to, and the fact that he's even his at this point being on the Wormwood and having he's having this weird effect. And this is the cool again. Another reason why I like the White Dwarf, the fluff they can throw in here, having these really crazy effects on technology around the entirety of the galaxy. There's some cool stuff in there. These weird glitches happening all over the 40K galaxy universe. There, servitors going, rebelling against their Mechanicus. The Games Workshop just moves too fast many days. Yeah, it's way too fast. I was actually talking to the manager at the Games Workshop store when I visited, and he's like, it's too fast. They need to slow down. And I think, yeah, they absolutely slow down. I remember when it was monthly releases, and that was a perfect pace. Perfect. But yeah, no, the Vashtor stuff. You got servitors rebelling. You've got the Tau are experiencing it with there's a little blurb in there about how the one of their crisis suits went haywire and started blasting their own people. There's nothing the person side could do. They just couldn't control their suit. There's one about the leagues with their specialized AI kin suddenly betraying them, and the rest of them just shocked because that's not supposed to happen, right? it's crazy. Like this is some cool stuff. So I get where they're going back to the Pariah Nexus. I think they're building something there. Obviously, the Lion's on his way, Gulliman's on his way, Vashtor's there. You've got the Necron Civil War happening. So there's a whole bunch of crazy stuff there. It's really fun. Before I can afford something, there's something new out. Yeah, when it gives you time to save and think about what you really want. Well, that's how it used to be. Yeah, no impulse buying. Also, fighting to get something you want that's limited. Yeah, Games Workshop, by doing premium limited edition things, I know they're trying their best now. Well, trying their best. We'll see how much fight they put into it to stop scalpers. Like, I can't even believe that we have to say the word scalpers when it comes to Warhammer 40,000. I even when I worked for them back in 2015, nobody was like, "Ooh, scalpers." Now it's like, "Hey, the scalpers bought everything." Scalpers, like they sold hockey tickets and concert tickets and main event tickets and they're not going on like who what. Of course, now everybody does that. It's crazy that we have scalp, but I digress. I like the month by month thing because it gave you and it gave you time. Because if we were doing the Dark Angels, because it's pre-ordering now, if the Dark Angels came out, you'd have like the first Saturday of the month. So say whatever the first Saturday of March is, right? So say the 8th, even the 1st of, the 2nd of March, just the first day. You'd have the Codex and you'd have the Combat Squad or Army Box come out that day, and then whatever cool stuff. And then the week after that, your in that first week you have new characters come out too. Then the week after that you'd have the new Deathwing Knights would come out, and the week after that would be the new Inner Circle stuff, and the week after that would be whatever was left, right? So if you start on March 2nd, by March 30th you'd have everything out. It'll be week by week by week by week, and that's how they would release it, right? Or you release everything but it gave time to buy. You could see what you want, and of course, you'd have been told about it when they were doing it smart. You would know that it was coming out near the end of January, so you'd have a whole month to salivate over it, to build interest over it. From our end, I love that. I hated. It was sometime mid 2008. That's when things changed. They decided to change things up, and we stopped knowing what was coming out until we got the White Dwarf of that month. So if so we say there was a massive orc release coming, we wouldn't know. They wouldn't tell us anything. I guess people were giving away secrets, and the small group of people rooting for the rest, which is the normal way of things, right? But we would know well in advance what was happening, so we could build interest. We could throw little hints, get people excited. I got to the point like if orcs were coming out, say, like the first Saturday of June, we would know when we got the White Dwarfs, like at the end of like May. So we would have, right? We would have maybe a week because we get them in early and then we could put them out, right? We would, again, this is the way it worked back in the day. It's different now, but we would get them right at the end of the month, and then of the month previous, we have like a week to prepare. It didn't give us any time. Yeah, I hear the Army box is nice, but it would be better to release it all at once. So if you want to buy one, you buy it. You want, yeah. What's the thing? I mean, we had. I'll go back to the website because I'll make sure I'm giving the right information here. But if I look at it right now, what was it right now? No, that's not what I want. Click on the stuff right now. Come on. Yeah, so we have pre-order for Belial, Asmodai, Deathwing Terminator squads are already sold, but Inner Circle Companions, Kill Team Scouts. But now we have Heroes of the Chapter, which includes the new Lieutenant, the 5 Stern Guard, and the Apothecary. He's pre-order. Captain Terminator is pre-order. Ballistus Dreadnought is pre-order. Infernus Squad is pre-order. Librarian Terminator, he's actually already been out for a bit. He's not pre-ordered. The all that. That's all stuff that came out in June, and we're only getting it now. Right, so we're and that's pre-order this Saturday to release next Saturday. So yeah, we're a good 8 months since the launch of this edition of 40K. Now, luckily enough, I was one of the lucky ones. I got my wife bought me the Leviathan box set, so I had all these things. Or now, if you want the captain on his own, it's only now that you can get him. Right now, obviously, it's a different captain because he's gonna have a bunch of options. But again, if you really like the Infernus Squad but nothing else, you only get it now. If you really want that Ballistus Dread, you can only get it now. So, what's up with that? I mean, like, that's crazy that it took so long. I think those should have been released a long time ago. When the Space Marine Codex came out, they should have been released at the same time. No hands about. I miss the Army box, the late 80s and 90s where you get 20. Yeah, I remember those. Those were great. Also, it's not just models now, novels, limited edition characters. I mean, it's awesome. It makes us feel needed. Yeah. Pondering how far I can kit bash. Yeah. I kit bash. Yeah. So let's go through that. So, no. So first off, also, it's not models now, novels, limited edition characters. That's true. Yeah. It means awesome. It makes us feel needed now because that's a classic, and I've seen lots of people on YouTube shredding games or stuff that. That's a classic sales tactic. It's been used for years by everybody. It's FOMO, fear of missing out. You got to have the cool new thing right now. It's limited. You got to get and buy it. You need it. You don't want to miss out. It's a sales tactic, right? One I hate. Kit bashing is great. I mean, I kit bashed almost my entire Eldari army, right, out of high elf stuff. Just, how long ago? That 6 months? Yeah, it's about 8 months now since that came out, right? Has a Graphis boss in a separate box. The one, I don't know. I think that finally came out on its own. Yeah. Also, don't. Well, hey, I've got the Space Marine side of Leviathan. He said, and don't feel bad who took my dice. I still have my Leviathan box. It's still on now. Box now assembled. Not assembled, assuming, but I have all the Space Marine side of it assembled. All the characters. I've only painted up 5 of the Infernus Squad. I want to get the other 5 done. I've got the Terminators, all the characters, all the cool stuff. I want to get them done eventually. The Tyranid side I haven't even touched yet. I definitely understand it, but a bit crap makes you buy more for something. Yeah, well, that's the thing. The Gravis guy, I think he's out now. Yeah, he's definitely out on his own because they have one that comes with different parts. So the original Gravis one from Dark Imperium, I don't think he's out anymore. He doesn't exist anymore in that particular with the power sword. He doesn't. The one from Dark Imperium doesn't exist anymore. That was a standard one. They do have one that came out with 2 power fists, or the power fist and a chain sword, or a power fist and a power sword. So there's a mixture, right? But yeah, that process of underestimating demand and then making things really limited is a way to get people to buy. It's a cheap way to make people buy, and people do smarten up to eventually, and then it ends up hurting you longer in the long run. Dice, I showed you my new Wolfen. Yes, I think I saw them in our in one of the messaging things there. Yeah, I've seen. They look fantastic, and they're huge, which is they should be. Wolfen should be massive. Wolfen should scare people, as they should, because they are. I remember when the first Wolfen came out, the metal ones back in the original 13. That whole army, having a 13th Company army, was like having an army of heroes at that point, because everybody, your Grey Slayers had extra attacks and better leadership, which was a big deal back in 3rd edition. Your Wolfen were a nightmare, multi-wound, multi-attack models. Yeah, it was like a whole army of characters. Great. I want to see how the wolf termies mix with new ones. That pretty good. Pretty. I think let's see, the wolf termies mix with new ones. Well, right now, I think we're probably going to see new wolf terminators. I'm just trying to think here. I think we probably will see new wolf terminators. We're going to see, although you're playing space wolf, so get prepared to lose a lot of stuff. I have a feeling like your land speeders are gone. Anything that Marines have lost already is gone for your book, guaranteed. You're probably going to get new wolf terminator. Saying that, you're probably going to get an upgrade spruce, so you can put space wolf stuff on the new terminators. I have a feeling that your blood claws will disappear. Your gray hunters will disappear eventually. They may stay around because they're unique enough. But I mean, why would you want great like wolf claws when you have assault intercessors, right? Why have like your sky claws are gone, your bikers were all gone. They've been replaced, obviously. I was talking with Mythos about this. I have a feeling that 11th edition, when that comes out in 2.5 to 3 years from now, give or take, we're going to see all tactical squads gone. We're going to see anything that isn't brand new from this edition will be gone. So I think your tactical squads will be gone. I think when the Blood Angels come out, you're not going to see, you're not going to see Firstborn Death Company more. You're just going to see the standard Intercessor Death Company guys. Or you might see Intercessors. You might see the Assault Intercessors with jump packs being in your new sort of jump version of that. But yeah, all tactical squads will be gone. Rhinos, Razorbacks, Predators will all be gone. Anything that's on a Rhino chassis will be gone. Whirlwinds will be gone. Basically anything that isn't brand new will be gone forever. Assault Intercessors equal blood claws. Yeah, exactly. So your Assault Intercessors will be blood claws. Your Intercessors will, well, they're already there, but your Grey Hunters will be gone. You'll probably get, well, your Scouts are gone. Your Wolf Scouts will definitely be gone and replaced with the new Scouts. You'll probably get some sort of cool new unit, whether or definitely a Space Wolf variety of one of those units. I mean, we already have the Fangs of Mordecai, so yeah, Warhammer are going to put out. Well, that's exactly how it is. Yeah, I mean, if you look at it at how it is, the Space Marine line, even at the beginning of 8th edition, was old. Even with redone tactical squads, Devastator squads, even with G, what's up? You're back. Even with redone tactical squads, redone Stern Guard veteran squads, redone everything. It's a really, 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 really old line, right? So it needs to be redone. And there's only so many tactical squads you can make people buy, especially when you said, hey, they can only have 6, right? Well, that's not my troop choices. So even now, right, with the way that they've redone everything, you can have 6 of your battle line. Well, that's great. So that's 6 tactical squads. What do you do? So yeah, it to me, from a business side, the business side of it, I get what they're doing. I get why they've revamped everything. We got new Cadians because the old stuff was old. We've gotten the Cadian line had been around since 3rd edition of the plastic. So of course, it's time for them to go. Even Chaos Legionnaires, right? There's time for them to go. New Chosen, new everything, right? Because all the old stuff just was really, really old. So time for it to go. Space Marines, and hey, we're all going to feel the pain. Some more than others. Like for Space Marine players, we're seeing our entire line thrown out. Now it's taken them several editions. 8 was a beginning. 9 more disappeared. 10th was a massive loss. I'm using 30K for my first one. That's cool. I mean, those models look amazing. I just don't have time to get into another army. Even if I went in and did Horus Heresy Ultramarines army, it's just another, right? I need new knobs. I'm not talking. Yeah, again, wasn't there a lore story-wise with Fabius steals the Primaris seed so his Legion get their own versions? He from what I understand is he's stolen the gene seed, but I don't. He's probably not going to give it. He's going to keep it for himself. I think that's part of the thing is he's going to keep the gene seed for himself to build more of his new men because he's at the point where he sells his services to the highest bidder and in the chaos the waste legions there. But he's trying to build his own new men, his own super beings, right? What they've done for Chaos, they've just made them bigger. Everyone's model is getting bigger. If I take an Intercessor Marine and one of the new Legionnaires, whether it's they're one of their normal Legionnaires or someone with a heavy weapon, they are bigger. They've made them bigger, which is like the new Death Guard are massive, right? They're huge. Pound for pound, they're the same size. Right, even all the new stuff, they just made it bigger. You can get more detail in the models. You can get, you can do things, but they're just, and as they should, Chaos Space Marines should have always been slightly bigger than normal Marines. They are infused with the power of the warp. It warps them. It makes them Chaos ain't giving them enough space bucks. No, they don't. But like everything's sort of just gotten bigger. Right, so I don't know. I mean, at some point, I mean, they've pretty much gone out there with what happened in Angron's Murder Curse is fluff-wise. If you want to do it, they're like, here you go. Here's an absolute. If you want to make a Primaris Chaos Space Army, go for it. Go for it. Just because that's what the Murder Curse did. He took a whole Imperial fleet, and other than the Grey Knights and the Custodes, almost every Astartes, Guardsmen, Sisters of Battle got caught by Angron's Murder Curse, went nuts. So now you have Sisters of Battle that are gone to Chaos. You have Guardsmen, which has happened before, gone to Chaos. And then you can have a full army, if you want to, of Imperial, of now crazy ex-Imperial Primaris Marines you want to. Just fit them into the proper spot on there, and you're good to go. Besides the Tau, they're tiny. Yeah, Tau. I mean, I like the fact that the Kroot are getting the Kroot seem to be getting all the love right now. Tons of new models. I like it. It's cool. I think it's really cool that they're doing that. It's great. Give me a sec here. There we go. Sorry, my system is messing up there. Yeah, no, it's everything's gotten bigger. Gotta love Bad Girl, Chaos Nuns. Well, yeah, they're I mean, people have been doing that for ages. People doing that for ages. You just use it, and you could say if they've gone bad now, right? I've seen that. Sisters of Battle are a bit harder. You'd have to use the Sister of Battle rules, but yeah, you could take a squad of 10 intercessors and say they're Chaos Legionnaires now, right? It's a bit of a trade-off but basically stat-wise they're exactly the same, right? And then just throw in whatever cool twisted weapons you want on there to fit with the cursed weapons and all the other stuff, the heavy melee weapons they've got. So I love Kroot. I might be tempted to buy them. Yeah, that box set looks nice. And then they've shown off some other new stuff. There's like a solo Kroot rider that either has like a heavy Kroot gun or these like, it's almost like a sling spear, but it shoots sling spears that have explosives so you can hunt tanks. So you have like a lone tank hunter backing up your Kroot warriors and your new Kroot hounds and your new Kroot characters. It looks really, really cool. Yeah, I that was a really cool. I want to look that up because they have all the new stuff. I'm just trying to because they got all the new stuff. Where is it? Yeah, there it is. A Kroot Lone Spear Snipe Specialist. Bust tanks and slink back the underbush. So yeah, he's on some sort of. It's even different, even more different than the Kroot riders, the Krootox riders you had there, right? So you either have him with, he's got the Kroot long gun, which is heavy precision, which is pretty bad. 36-inch range, 1 attack, let's go 3+, strength 6, AP -2, damage 3. That's pretty cool. And or he's got the advanced scout, and each time makes a ranged attack that hits an enemy unit. Then turn each time another Kroot model for your enemy makes attack that targets the enemy unit, you can reroll the hit roll. That's pretty cool. I don't know what the lance does. It's cool. They have it does look he's armed with, it looks like a couple lances with just like big arrowheads, and he's got one that looks like has an explosive on there, which is pretty cool. And yeah, then you have the Kroot hunting army, which gives us, you get the War Shaper, which I guess is what they've redone with it used to be called a Master Shaper, now the War Shaper. And then the Flesh Shaper, which looks like, I think, Master of Ritual Butchery, who takes strong personal pride. And then your Kroot Warriors. And then the other auxiliaries. Just like the Space Marines, you had your captain, and then you had your veterans and your veteran sergeant, your tactical squads. Now you've got that lieutenant or lieutenant. I keep calling it lieutenant. I gotta call it lieutenant. That's the real word. Lieutenant now. So now obviously this Flesh Shaper is sort of in that same level, like sort of like the Palatine for the Sisters of Battle. So you have your War Shaper, your Flesh Shaper, and it looks pretty cool. Armed with a couple close gun weapons. It looks like a Kroot rifle of some sort. It might even be some sort of shotgun style weapon. It looks like too big, and the way they designed the packaging on the, looks like he's got shotgun shells almost in there, which is pretty cool. Some sort of assault weapon. And then you have your Kroot Warriors, which look a lot better, armed with like specialized weaponry. Plus, I think they got some new cool, specialized weapons in there, which is good to have. They needed that. And of course, then we have the Kroot weapon form. The Krootox is back. I like the fact it's got some sort of heavy Kroot gun with 2 barrels. So obviously, I think they're probably trying to up the firepower, because the rules as are now, they have the Kroot hunting rifle. It's like a 1-shot heavy weapon. So it's cool. And they have, let's see here, the Kroot. So they have the repeater cannons and tangle cannons. The tangle cannons, obviously, some sort of weapon that may slow you down or have some sort of blast effect put to it. And of course, then you have the Kroot hunting pack, which looks awesome. These guys armed with, looks like close combat weapons, pistols, spears, something like that. Nice, fast choice there. That's cool. That's cool stuff. What do I got here? Okay. Yeah, Axel Rider is so cool. It's nice to see Tao get some new stuff. Kroot Big Gun Game Rifle should be called. I plan on getting Kroot over 2024 to get ready for 2025. Yeah. No, the Kroot look fantastic. Yeah, the Kroot look great. I'm glad they've done their own army. I always thought they should have had their own army. I remember long ago I was very tempted to make a Kroot mercenary list. It was a mercenary list that came out, again, chapter approved back in White Dwarf. It was really, really cool. And it was a Master Shaper, a Shaper Council. And of course, it was different back in the day. The way the armies were set up were different from now. But you had your Master Shaper, go much like the War Shaper. You had a Shaper Council, which is basically just like they were slightly, not as many attacks, not as good leadership. And they had, but they were cool, right? And then you had your veterans that could spit acid. You had your Kroot Warriors. You had your Headhunter Kindred, which were like your elites, and they could spit acid, so they had like an acid attack. You had your Kroot Carnivore squads. You had your Kroot Vulture squads. So that was Kroot that had developed vestigial wings, so they couldn't fly, but they could act like jump troops. So they could hop around. They were just basically Kroot armed with a Kroot rifle, but they could jump around. You had Kroot squads that had the Kroot hounds with them. So you could build this massive. You could build like 10 Kroot warriors, like 20 hounds with them, just this massive. And the hounds are important because the Kroot back in the day couldn't, especially in 3rd edition, if you defeat a unit, you could chase it down, hopefully destroy it that way, right? Kroot couldn't do that, but the Kroot hounds could add extra attacks onto that fleeing unit. Right? The Kroot were too busy trying to eat because that's how they kept their genetic strains going, right? All right, say 20 years I wanted to do all Kroot army. Yeah, me too. Oh, hey man. Well, thank you very much for popping by, and we will see you later. Thank you very much for hopping in. And then you had the Crew Talk squads. You could back in the day you could actually put like pits, traps around the board. They could do that too because they're jungle fighting. I did have an army time when it first came out. I was still going to school. That's cool, man. The Tau have come a long way. But you could have this whole army, and there were genetic modifications you could make throughout them. You could have the green skin Kroot, so these were Kroot that ate orcs, so you had an extra point of toughness. There was one for making them all faster, getting us like a 6+ cover save out in the open, so like a camouflage. You had the hyperactive Nymoon organ, so they could all be a bit faster. The whole army or certain characters could. You had the mark of the favored child, which was like that was your invulnerable save, and that's what you gave to your master. Say them all like this was the gods of the Kroot had favored this warrior, and it made him a little bit more survivable, right? So that was always cool. But it was a whole list just of Kroot, and because the Kroot need to ingest genetics from other armies to keep their tribes thriving. Of course, the Tau want to stop that because eating people is disgusting. It's not part of the greater good. But so they sent out these secret mercenary armies to deal with other places to bring back that genetic stuff so they can keep thriving. Right? They need that. So, of course, like you could get there was some Tau in there. Obviously, the Tau gave them stuff, so you could have your actually, I think the model's not available anymore, but you could have a master shaper where you'd have a pulse rifle in his hand, or you could have a sword or something. And then with this stuff, your shaper council and your master shaper could have like bolters or multi-guns, power swords, some Imperial stuff to show that they've taken payment from, guardsmen or whatever. It probably wouldn't be Space Marines, or could have been an Inquisitor or something. Wouldn't have been Sisters of Battle, but lots of the time the Guard would get them. There's even a story in there about how the Guards are fighting, I believe, the Eldari. And I'm going to have to go, man. It's going crazy. Hey, no problem, man. Much love to you, and thanks for hopping by. Hopefully your internet smartens up. I hate when my internet goes crazy, and it does it quite frequently sometimes. But there's a cool story where the Guardsmen are attacking the Eldari, and they're about to get attacked, and then the Kroot just ambush the enemy. They didn't even see him coming. They just come in, wipe out the squad, and they were about to get ambushed. They're all frantic. They're blazing with their las guns, not anything. These Kroot just come in and ambush the Eldari, wipe them out, and then they're stunned, like, oh my god, because the Kroot are eating them. They're eating as they go. It's like, man, I'm glad they're on our side. It's like, well, they are for now. Right, obviously showing the mercurial nature of their transactions, right? So you could also have like sluggas in there and choppas because they work with orcs or whatever. So it was pretty cool. They got special rules for fighting in jungles. It was a lot of fun. But I just looked at the time. I think I'm going to take off too, guys. It is after midnight here. So thank you very much, everybody who jumped in. I really appreciate it, as always. And thanks everybody who watched my last video there. Words of encouragement were awesome and very heartfelt, and they meant a lot to me. So thank you very much for that as well. I hope you guys have a good night, and we will see you soon. I'm hoping to have that battle report out, the solo battle report out sooner than later. I'm just waiting on some cool stuff, a nice little surprise in there. But always, guys, keep rolling those dice. I will see you later. Bye.